or perhaps I should say top of the morning to you. I think that's the convention in these parts.
Can you say laddies as well?
Only if I say laddies and ladies. You gotta be partially inclusive, but like not go overboard.
Right.
And just so you know how I'm pronouncing that as laddies with 2 X's instead of the IE. Is it though? You know, some of the third wave feminists preferred using Y's instead of X's for some reason. So you would do person instead of person, which is the more common convention now. And there's a reason for that. I don't know what it is though. And that was all on stream for some reason. Okay, so problem set 3, you all did pretty well. And by pretty well, I mean I can tell you didn't watch the recorded lecture, which is fine. I'm not still bitter about that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to live code that problem set, and then I'm going to do today's lecture as planned. And the hope is that me talking and writing code in front of you will incidentally provide instruction on all of the things that slowed you down a little bit on problem set 3. In general, the class average on problem set 3 was as high as problem set 2, so good job, and it's high enough, right? I'm not concerned. But there was a higher distribution, or a higher percentage of students didn't get a perfect score. And I would like you to get perfect scores. Why would I like you to get perfect scores? Well, it does not affect your grade, right? So 100 and 90% both convert to A under the grading scale, but it affects my life because it takes longer to grade stuff that's not perfect, right? So I am invested in you doing exactly what the problem set says. Now, in this class, I think uniquely, and I teach other classes where I don't care about this, there's a much higher premium on doing exactly what the instructions say, even if what the instructions say to do is stupid, right? And the reason for that is because this is sort of a class on writing instructions for the computer, so there's a premium placed on exactly doing what instructions say, right? So it's the unusual case where I have to be somewhat pedantic and annoying in this class, which I don't love doing, but some of you got feedback where I basically said, like, hey, look, I feel like I have to tell you this wasn't perfect because if you ever use your own code, this is going to cause you a headache in like 3 weeks, right? That could be wrong, right? But over the course of my instruction in computer science, what I've learned is be very precise about whether you name your function the same thing the problem set says it does, whether you name your variable and like whether the indentation is correct, right? So I'm going to go through the problem set really quickly. Not all of it. I'm going to do problem 2 and 3. And hopefully this will stir up any questions we might have. I accepted the problem set. I'm going to download it. Let's see, let's download our zip. My screen is massively zoomed in for some reason. Downloaded the zip. I don't really know how this works, so we'll see if this opens it. Okay. I'm going to just open this in VS Code, I think, which I happen to have open already. So I'll just take this and I'll drag them over here. In VS Code, I'm going to trust myself. And there we have it. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open instructions, and this is going to open in my web browser. So maybe that's a little too small or too big, and that's okay. Then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to get VS Code open. This is pretty zoomed in, which is a little bit obnoxious. So let's take a look at the instructions. I think we were pretty okay on draw a console pyramid for the most part, so hopefully that's your impression as well. There were a few ways to do, let's see, what all do we have here? README, PyTest. Okay, here's problem 2. So on problem 2, and can someone confirm for me that this text is large enough? Can you see that okay? AJ, can you see this okay? Is that big enough for you?
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. We need to check to see if we have repeated letters.
Can you put the lights on the screen?
Yes, I can. This one?
Oh, there, thank you.
Cool, thank you. I need to see if I have repeated letters. And usually, if you were to have a job doing this, they would give you two 27 to 29 inch monitors, right? So I'm simulating having two 27 to 29 inch monitors on my 14 inch monitor, okay? So if you're like, wow, it's really hard to write code with as little monitor space as I have on my school laptop, you are correct. I'm sorry, right? We can say it builds character or something. I don't know, right? I think it's like objectively the wrong way to write code, but it's like we can't just put 57 inches of monitor in front of all of you during class, right? I have taught a class that had the monitors and no one could see the screen, so like that was also bad. Okay, contains repeated letters. There's a few ways to do this. You can do it however you want. My preferred way is I'm going to look at every letter in the word, and I'm going to see if that is contained in the rest of the word. So for I in range length of word, what is this going to do? This is going to give me the address of every letter in a word. And I can test my code if I want. Is this going to work? Okay. So that's going to say single and repeating. Okay. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to check to see if word I is present in the rest of the word. Why is that? I don't want to check to see if word I is contained in the word, because I know it is. It's the ith letter of the word. I somehow need to check things other than I to see if the letter is there. I think you don't say is in, you just say in word I. And you take the word beginning at the ith position and going to the end. Let's actually take a look at what that is going to look like. We're going to look at the rest of word I, okay? And I think if the ith letter is contained in later letters, then you do contain repeated letters. So let's see if that's true. Let's see. That's not working correctly because I need to take off one of the letters, so I'm going to say I plus 1. There we go. We're checking to see if there's an S in ingle, an I in niggle, an N in gl, a G in le, and an L in eh, right? And that's not easy to say, that's why we have the computers do it, right? Then we're going to check to see if there's an R in impeding or an E impeding, and there is an E impeding, so we return true. I no longer need this print statement. I'm still not quite correct because single does not contain repeated letters, and I'm returning none. I know you don't believe me, that's okay. So I'm only going to print contains repeated letters single, okay? And it's saying none. But this one was correct, repeating was correct. And maybe this is annoying to you, so you can always do this. You can take the statement you're printing, you can put it inside single quotes because we used double quotes for the string, and you can print out what you are printing. And I'll do this again. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this is what I did to figure out how you did on all of your assignments, right? Okay, so that's none. That's bad. So why is that returning none? Well, I'm going to go through this loop a bunch of times, and I'm never going to return anything. So if I finish going all the way through that loop, what I should do is I should return false, because I didn't find any repeated letters. Now, let me show you an example of how this can be wrong. I'm going to press tab, and now, by just changing the indentation of false, I'm returning false in the case, and this is a specific case, so you can think about this and you can reason about this, unless the first letter, or the initial letter, or the letter at address 0 is the repeated letter, this will return false. Why is that? This loop is only going to run one time, because no matter what, the first time I go through this loop, I will return either false or true. If this statement is true, then I return true. Otherwise, I return false. It doesn't matter that this for loop should run more times, because I already returned my books to the library, or returned the value true or false from my function. Okay? If I indent one more time, then I never return anything except true, because I never get to this line. My VS Code has this faded out a little bit. I don't know how visible that is to you, right? But you can never get to a line immediately after return because you've already returned the books to the library. You haven't read the epilogue. You haven't read the appendix. So this line of code is never seen because I leave the function before I execute it, right? So you want it over here. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, here's another thing that doesn't work. This is not allowed to be equally indented. A semi-common mistake I saw was to see the first line of a function begin at the same indentation level as the def block. That is against the law. You should know that's against the law because it was against the law in Carroll, right? So don't break the law. Indent after colons. There's a colon here, so I indent. There's a colon here, so there's an additional indent. There's not a colon at the end of this line. This is not a for, if, or def statement. So I maintain the same indentation level. And then this line is indented more. Specifically, this return statement I want to happen after I have completed my for loop, so I place it there. There's something I could show you right now, but I'm not going to, and it's confusing, which is that you can do for else. Just never do that. Don't do that. Only use else with if, okay? There are things you can do in Python that you should not do, okay? I think you all got this done. I saw some solutions that I thought could be more concise. There is no premium on being concise and brevity in this class. Write as many lines of code as you need. I wanted to show you this solution because I found it kind of elegant and didn't want you to not see it. I think it's interesting. You can also go the other way. And that does something, right? I think like maybe I have to do I-1 or something. And so like there's ways to check the rest of the word. And I thought the most obvious way to check the rest of the word was like this with a slice. And you can also do this to length of word. That's totally fine if you want to be more specific. You can also specify that you're taking every letter. Whoa, what did I press? So these are the sort of the different things we learned about in the range lecture. Okay, cool. If you don't want to write this in statement, for j in range I, len word, if word I equals word j, turn true. And this is logically equivalent as well. So this is the way to do that more explicitly if you want. This thing right here is what I would call a nested for loop. It is a for loop inside of a for loop. The goal of this semester is to understand this structure. So once you feel good about this, you will be fine for the rest of the semester. You're just going to be applying it in different ways to different topics. I didn't have to use it on contains repeated letter, but it might be the most obvious way to do it. This is a perfect solution. Like, this is textbook. This is awesome. And one of the reasons for that is because this works in other programming languages than Python. Python has really good string support, so it has this in thing. This also works in Java. This works in JavaScript. This works in C++. This works in everything. I think you can write any R programmers in here, data scientists. You can write this in R, right? I don't think you would, but you can. Okay, problem 3. I think problem 3 bamboozled us a little bit, and that's okay. And the reason problem 3 bamboozled us is because there's a lot of words. And words are bad. We only want one word at a time, right? That's why we're working with one word at a time. So when I look at this problem, if, for example, like someone asked me to write some code for them and they gave me this thing, semi-regularly I do have to like screen words for varying sorts of things, right? What I see, and I broke this into bullet points to try and trick you into writing for if statements. I don't know if that worked, right? So I'm going to create and return a new string. I'm going to call it ns for new string. I don't know, you can call it whatever you want. It will be identical to the old string, except in the case there is an instance of the letter A, E, I, or U in the string, which will be prefixed with OB unless. Okay, unless, here's like one of the insights, right? Unless should feel like else to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write this out of order. Because another way to say this is if I see a vowel that follows another vowel, I don't add OB. And if I see an E and it's the final letter, I don't add OB. So this is the last case. So this should say probably else, and that auto-indented horribly, right? NS equals, let's see, NS plus OB plus letter. And what's letter going to be? Well, it's probably, in the spirit of this thing, going to be word I. And I'm probably going to write a for loop over I in range, length, word. So this needs to be probably indented more. What else can go on? Well, if word I is in A, E, I, O, U, that is the vowel case. But we don't necessarily want that precisely. We want to check within the vowel case if certain things happen. So, if I is equal, oh, no, I'm out of order. Actually, that's fine. I can do E in final letter. If word I is equal to E, and I is equal to the length of the word, what's going on here? Well, that means I see an E, and it's the final letter. So I just say NS equals NS plus word I. You can also use the plus equals here, if you would like. Do we think the plus equals is sketchy? Can I get a... Okay, I'm going to write this with plus equals then. Else if... VS Code's trying to get me to make mistakes here, but I'm not falling for it. The previous letter is a vowel. Word I minus 1 in A, E, I, O, U. There's something wrong with this, and some of you detected it. This will loop back to the last letter of the word in the case you have the first letter of the word. No problem. I greater than 0 and word I minus 1 in A, E, I, O, U. So this just checks that I'm not at the initial letter. This is the consonant case. And I'm not returning NS. I'm going to close this just to have a little more screen space. Oh, there's a bunch of things open. There's no return statements in here, so I'm returning none by default, but I created this string called NS. Is this correct? Does anyone know?
It looks like it.
I think that's correct.
No, if there's an E at the end of the letter.
Okay, this is wrong?
The word, yeah.
So this is breaking, so this is supposed to be len word minus 1. That fixed it? Okay. We can print our new string as it's built if you want. That's up to you. Some things I would like to point out about my process there. Each sort of sentence of the instructions corresponds to a line or two of code, but not necessarily in the same order. I don't necessarily describe things to humans and computers in the same order. It is what it is, right? Like, sometimes these concepts are different. There is some repeated code here. This line repeats 3 times. That means you can write this differently, right? So you can write this in one line of code if you want. You don't have to, right? I think that's all I want to point out about it. This would be very hard to write as for letter in Word. It just doesn't work there because I'm only using it in a few places. But I need I here and here. So somehow you have to check first and last letter. And the way I like to do that is for I in range, length, word. I find this construction, range, length, variable, very awkward. It's more than I would expect you to need. I'm sorry. That's all I got. Anyone want to ask me any questions about anything? Doesn't have to be homework. If there's something you got stuck on Wordle, I'll code that right now. Okay. How many minutes are we in? 20? Okay. Cool. Import. It is so much harder to, like, vocalize clearly while you're sitting down. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. I'm struggling. Like, my throat hurts. Okay. Oh, right. Wordle. I checked yesterday afternoon. More of you had started the assignment than I expected. Collective good job to you. Thank you for starting it. Some people had submitted code already. That's awesome. You're champions. If you haven't started yet, don't feel bad. It's good to have started. If you're busy, right? You will have a better time, in my view, if you work on this a little bit a day. I've been wrong. I don't know you. I don't know your life. I don't know anything about you, right? There are sections today and tomorrow. The further you are in Wordle, the better questions you get to ask your section leader, right? So there's an incentive to be very far along before your section, right? Specifically, I think you want to be at coloring letters by the time you get to your section. That's a big push if you're in one of the Wednesday sections. I understand that, okay? Okay. I had to ban some questions. You have to figure out indentation yourself now. It builds character. It's like eating vegetables, okay? Just eat the vegetables. It's fine. I think I am providing helpful feedback on your .py files that you submit if there's anything in them that doesn't follow the instructions. If you don't feel that way, let me know. I'll give you some feedback. I have plenty of thoughts about code, right? I'm trying to give you a tasteful amount of feedback. If that's too much or too little, just let me know. Indentation will ruin your life on the midterm. That's just how it is. The midterm is essentially going to be about indentation, right? So be ready for that. This is basically the same example I illustrated for you with moving. Sorry, that was an involuntary sound. Okay. These are two functions that are identical except for the indentation. Print first vowel. Anyone have a nice 7-letter word? Adverse, I think. Is that 7 letters?
Jesus.
Cheeses?
Yeah.
No, it's plural, right?
Jesus.
Not Jesus.
Jesus.
Cheeses, yeah.
No, Jesus. Also
Let's count them.
but I got it.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 6 letters in it, so it's of length 7.
I can't spell cheese.
Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its. Okay, I'm not about to shout out Cheez-Its on my stream if I'm not sponsored, okay? Only if you spell it correctly. Here, let's do some low-grade copyright infringement. Okay. So I'm going to run it with adverse first. Let's see, print all vowels. Okay. A-A-E-E. I'm going to do an intermediate print here to break up the lines. Okay. So this code is identical except for the return statement, which means in this code you return as soon as you print one character. In this code you return after you print all characters. A-E-E, adverse. Okay? We're going to change adverse to word, which is Cheez-Its spelled interestingly. Nope. Okay. Cheez-Its has 2 vowels in it. It has an E and an I. If we do this with cheeses, we either see a single or 3 E's. If you do not understand this, please watch that lecture I recorded that I'm annoyed about. Okay. This is mega bad. In VS Code, see these like vertical lines? They're there to trick you and give you a false sense of security. But if you manage to not align your return statement on one of those vertical lines, the code explodes. You get an indentation error. And if you get an indentation error, that is a you problem. Keep that to yourself. Okay, I don't want to hear about that, right? Works again. Okay. This is my favorite slide of the semester. Because this is the best example I've ever come up with why white space is meaningful. As a rule, we are expected to place spaces in the correct places in our sentences. Now I get to try and pronounce this, okay? Asar ul where ect top laces pace sin thek or rec tip lace sin or sentences. Did that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. So where you put your white space matters a lot. You know this already. It's my job to convince you of it, right? So let me know when you're convinced. This code will explode. This is against the law. And we'll define some S quickly. S equals cheeses. Ooh, not allowed. Oh, indentation error. Oh, totally fine. There it is. Okay, all right. Cool. Yes. My impression is your problem set 3s looked like I got COVID. So that's not your fault, but that is what they look like. Okay. Today, teach you a little about strings. Here are some string patterns. I have a doctorate in computer science. I have absolutely no idea how to get this horizontal line to not intersect these characters. Like, I spent like some time on it, and I was like, I'll just apologize. I think
normal on my screen.
it looks normal on your screen.
Yeah.
That's worse, I think. I don't know what happens if I like zoom in or zoom out, right? Like, see the lines flashing, and like, there you go. What level of zoom is that? 90%. It's great. There's no lines. So my advice to you: never make a website ever. This is all you do. You're like, oh, I could like put a cool background image. No, that's not what making websites are like. I have never used a single one of these, but you're welcome to. When might you use this? Well, you might want to see if there's an E in a string, but the problem is, kind of already know how to do that. This has the added benefit of telling you the index. Maybe that's interesting to you on Wordle. You can try these out. Here's an example. We have hello world. If we rfind a 0 in hello world, what does rfind do? Well, it returns the last index of pattern in string or -1 if missing. Wow, okay, it's crazy. So 7 is what? 7 is the index of the last final or reverse O in hello world. So this thing is at index 7. Does that like cool? Yeah, right? If I look for low, I have to come all the way up here. And we'll note this is the third address. Why is that? 0, 1. Wow, I should have brought a mouse. 2, and then this is starting at address 3. So low. If you're a big fan of saying lo and behold, right? If you are one of the angels talking to the shepherds in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night, and you say lo, I don't. The angel said lo, right? Okay. Lo, I bring you tidings of, right? Yeah. So like, angels are based, so they only have to say the last syllable of hello, right? If you look for an O from the beginning of the word, you get this O, which is different than this O, because this is 07, or perhaps 007. I was on a plane this weekend, and someone was watching Casino Royale. Wow, that movie is old. Okay, we can find some L's. Who loves taking L's?
Not me.
Not me. Yeah, that's right. L's are for other people, right? They're for our haters and I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Anyone here have any haters? Exactly. No, we don't. Okay. If we start at the end of the word and look for an L, we get this one. That's in position 9. How can you tell it's in position 9? Well, this is a 5-letter word. This is a 5-letter word. That means there's a total of 11 characters. That means the last character is index 10 because it's one less than the length of the word, so this has to be 9. Okay? I know you thought you'd never have to do addition again after 2nd grade. I do addition every day. I love it. Sometimes I just add numbers together to feel something, right? Okay. Does this string start with he? You better believe it, right? He's him. It's hello world, right? Okay. Does it start with no, that's false. I wonder if I could make a custom Python extension that says saying false, it says fake. I think that'd be fun. Okay.
Could you say fake equals false?
No, you couldn't.
You could, but it won't pop up by default, right? So, great question. Fake equals false, right? Print fake. What's going to come up? No, it's still like,
Yeah.
yeah, what's going on?
What if false equals fake?
Yeah, what if false equals fake? I can't assign to false to built in. Yeah.
Lowercase false?
Yeah. That's allowed. What's going to happen here?
It's still not
It's going to explode because we don't know what fake is, right? That's where I have an ingenious plan.
What if fake equals false?
Can you believe they let me teach? Right? So this is allowed, but what happens if I print false?
You're gonna get.
What am I typing?
You get false.
Yeah,
Oh.
with a big F.
Which, yeah.
What if I print fake?
Still
Right.
Damn.
This is why I don't have any fake friends. I only have false friends. Okay, all right. Does this end with low? Fake. That's fake. Does it end with lud,
Uh-huh.
which is short for, I don't know, LD? I was going to say Los Angeles, but that's not a real place. Okay, so that's true. It ends with LD. Okay. Okay, so for Wordle, the game is only interesting if the secret word is not the same every time. Is that true?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe the game's still not interesting, right?
interesting for a lot shorter time.
Yeah. So in Python, you're allowed to use the import keyword. So we've imported Carol before. This is not allowed in my current file place because I don't have Carol. This is in problem 3, so it doesn't work. But I can import random because it's part of Python. I think there's also other things. So like math is part of Python. There's some things. But anyways, random's built in, and so we're telling you about it now because it's useful to you on Wordle. There's some things that are built in. There's some things that aren't. Google it. Or use the search engine of your choice, but the search engine of your choice has to be Google because they have a monopoly. So how do you use random? No problem. Let's get a random number, and the way I'm going to get a random number is I'm going to use 2 different techniques. First of all, I'm going to set x equal to a random number. I'm going to say random. Was that going to work? No, it's not because I imported something named random. So random is not the same thing as a function. Okay. In order to see the function named random that lives in the thing called the module named random, and modules are basically the same thing as files. So carol.py was a file. Python refers to files as modules. So when you see the term module, it means file. That's what it means, okay? So what I actually need to do is I need to look inside of random. I need to go to random street, and I'm going to look for a different house on that street. Specifically, I'm going to look for a random house on that street. So this is random.random. That runs, and if I print x, I'm going to get a number. Specifically, I'm going to get my least favorite kind of number, which is a decimal number. Can I get some loud boos for decimal numbers?
Boo.
Boo. What kind of numbers do we like?
Integer.
We like integers. Do I have any idea how to get an integer? No, but I bet if I just like type int here, is this one going to work?
Int.random.
Do we think it's int.random? I didn't import int.
Random dot.
Is it random.int?
Random dot random dot.
Randint.
Random. Oh.
First try. Wait, it needs 2 required positional arguments, A and B? No problem. What do we want a random int to be between?
Can't be negative.
We can find out. What's your favorite negative number?
Negative 36.
Great choice. Oh, it can be negative. Should we check to see if it can be positive?
Sure.
That's not a number. What is happening? Why do I not know how to type? Okay.
Whoa.
I wonder how big of a number I can put in here. Yeah. I think you can just,
That's funny that they chose such a small number. There's so many options.
right, you would think,
Yeah.
you would think that this number would be almost exactly the same length as that number.
What if you put x equals random dot random and then put into the parentheses?
That's a good question. So x equals random dot random, and then I put int.
Okay, that's
We can actually see this because, see, random dot random takes no arguments to given. But you can also, this is unhinged. I'm gonna go sicko mode, okay? We know rand int accepts 2 arguments, so I'm gonna give it int twice. Okay. That's not allowed because it needs something of type integer, and I'm giving it the type integer. So it needs a version of an integer, not the idea of an integer. This is the same thing as the difference between a car and my 2017 Honda Fit with body damage on all out-facing panels, right? My car doesn't get vandalized anymore because they're like, what would we do? It looks like you vandalized your own car, which is true. I did as a power move, right? Because I was flexing on my haters, right? Okay, so we all understand. Or I don't have haters. Sorry, I forgot. My stories are not internally consistent. Okay. So you can also do this in, what am I doing? You can also do this down here if you are so inclined. I don't know why you do that, but you can. Okay. All right. So let me show you another way to do this. It may be the case that you think typing random.randint 714 is obnoxious, and it's a lot of clickety-clacking, right? That means it includes the end, right?
But, no.
This one I think doesn't. How do we check? Well, we can do a bunch of trials. So rand range and rand int are different, I think.
What were you saying you really do?
It'd be crazy.
Wouldn't that be crazy? So how should we check?
Google.
We did the 15, and they gave you a camera. Or gave you a camera.
Do we trust this?
No.
Start, stop. Unlike randint, which includes the upper limit, rand range excludes the stop value. We can trust, who is this? We can trust Geeks for Geeks, right?
Oh,
It's .org, of course.
It's .org. Well, we can also look at the official Python documentation. Positional argument pattern matches the range function. Cool. Good job. Good job, team. I'm proud of all of you. Okay. You can also, if you don't want to type random every time, you can say 2 things. You can say from random. I'm going to the store named Random, just like I went to Safeway for my Cliff Bars. I'm going to Random for my randints, right? Import randint. And then, oh, did you see that? Okay, watch this. Squiggles. Squiggles, and then I type the same thing up here. Oh, what happens? Oh, the squiggles go away. Okay, let's try both of them. Okay. No, trash can. Cannot import randin from random. Did you mean randint? That's right, I did. Thank you, Python. Ooh, not allowed because of int and int. Okay, let's put some numbers in here. I think we did -36, and we did clickety-clack, right? What am I doing? I should make one of you teach this class. Okay, look at that. That is definitely a number, right? Any objections to that being a number? What kind of number is it?
a big one.
It is a big integer. It is neither little nor non-integer. Oh, look, it's different every time? It's almost like it's a random big integer. But I'm not sure, right? I'd have to check. Okay. Another thing you can do, and I have been told by the powers that be not to tell you this because it will make you too powerful. you can just put an asterisk here and it takes everything in random and gives you access to it. Which means you can do extremely devious stuff, like use 2 different forms of random, both from random, and it works, okay? X equals rand range, 0, 1. What's the last X going to be? It's going to be randomly selected from things in the range 0, 1, so it's going to select 0 randomly. Ooh! That's not very random. Okay.
It's rigged.
It's just like life. Or, it's not like anything. Okay. Here's a bunch of options. You can use any of these that you want on Wordle. I gave you some example code. You don't have to use it. Okay. Let's take some random examples. Is this gonna work? From English. Notice I've changed English to import star now. Remember, don't do that. I promise I'm not trying to get all of us in trouble.
Why wouldn't we win everything?
Yeah, the world is not enough. Okay. Let's get a random 5-letter word. Random, or no, I gotta print it, huh? Random 5-letter word. Okay. Is this gonna work? Why is this not gonna work?
What is random?
It does work. It just does something that is. I think usually by convention I would go honk honk when this happens, because I probably didn't mean to print the function random word at 0x701b449da200, which is where it lives inside the computer. I probably wanted to print a random 5-letter word, such as brace, or perhaps keyed, the thing I do to my own car, or toil. Ugh. Alright, would have fooled me. Oh yes, Kylix. So if you're playing Wordle and it seems really hard,
It's just Kylix.
yeah,
It's cool though.
it's Kylix like every time,
If
right?
it was Kylix, it'd be great.
Let's get a random no repeats. Oh, honk honk. Okay, alright. Someone didn't write contains repeated letters? Not to worry, I have a plan. Wait a minute. Should I be copy pasting code? Why don't I instead say from prob to import star?
Whoa.
This is what's known as being awesome. Okay. A lot of people don't know this, but actually important is named after the import statement in Python. Before the import statement, no one knew what importance was. Okay. I'm now going to introduce the Portable Graphics Library in about 10 minutes. The Portable Graphics Library is essentially introduced in today's and tomorrow's lecture because it has to be introduced at some point in the curriculum. And you now have access to the Portable Graphics Library if you're working on Wordle. So this is my Wordle. Wordle Graphics uses the Portable Graphics Library. We're going to use the Portable Graphics Library on the remaining projects and problem sets until we get to a text-based adventure game. So we're going to familiarize ourselves with it now, but it is not on the midterm. So beginning at this exact second, right now, this very moment, I am teaching you post-midterm 1 content. But it is perhaps useful on Wordle, right? And the midterm is going to be so similar to Wordle that you're going to be like, this seems awfully similar to Wordle. Okay. So we're going to import Piggle. No module found Piggle. That's interesting. We're going to go to thing.py, and we're going to import Piggle. And the reason I changed what file I was working in is because I think one of those was in problem set 3, which doesn't have Piggle. And this one is in Wordle, Maine, which does have Piggle. Does that work? Okay, so I successfully Piggled. Did any of you go to a grocery store called Piggly Wiggly growing up? No? You've heard of it? Yeah. Piggly Wiggly is named after the portable graphics library in Python. That's why it's so important. Okay. With the portable graphics library, I have been instructed you to think of the idea of putting a collage on a corkboard. Have any of you ever put a collage on a corkboard? Okay. Here's what I think of.
Green ones.
I think of Paint, which I don't have on this computer. Do any of you have MS Paint? Yeah. Wait, if I just Google Paint, will something come up? Paint online? Wow, this is fun. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, I'm having a good time.
Power.
Let's maybe do like orange. Yeah. Oh, what happens if I click these buttons? Ooh, right. Okay, so what I'm going to show here is that things I do later go on top of things that I've done previously. Yeah. And apparently this is just like real life. I wouldn't know. I'm a computer scientist. I've never done anything in real life ever. Okay? I actually eat Rand Range for dinner every night. So here's an example. Oh, I'm putting a blue rectangle on a corkboard. You'll notice that my slides might be going back and forth there. Nope, they're both slide 15. Okay, that's crazy. Oh, it's a green circle? No, that's an oval. That's not a circle. Or perhaps it's a circle, but I'm looking at it like this, right? Really hard to say. Let's create our corkboard. Function F11. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Escape. Okay, how do I get out of full screen here? I think it's this one. And then we slice and dice. This is small. I understand it's small. I'm sorry. We've already discussed this. Here's Viz code. Where's Viz code? What is this? I want Viz code. Where is it? Oh, that's it?
Click on, yeah.
This just kind of looks like my computer's broken. Not to worry, I have a plan. Why is it over there? Oh, okay, I see. It just got stuck. Okay. There we go. What? I don't even know what this is. Like, it's very angry. Okay.
File explosion.
Can I drag this over? Well, we tried. Firefox? Give me a new one? No? Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on.
VS Code.
New window? Okay. Import. Courses. CS1. This'll work. I love computers. Piggle. We're on slide 15. Okay. Wait, no, that's tomorrow. Or the next day. 15. Okay. GW. Okay, what does GW stand for? It stands for graphics window. GW is not defined. GW is not defined. Oh, I know what's going on. Remember this one?
Yeah.
There we go. There's the graphics window. How big is that? That's 400 by 400 pixels. I know you don't believe me. This is probably a 1980 by 1020 monitor. Lucky guess. Does anyone know how big 720 is by? 1080? That seems fake. Is that for real? Does that look right?
I don't know.
It feels right.
I think my brain.
It's a computer times
I feel like it's
10 times 720 divided by 1080. No, I don't want to do it like that. I'm going to do integer. Oh, there's someone put a parenthesis here. So I think that looks wider, but like maybe I'm cooked.
I think it's like 1620.
You think 1620?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That does look kind of good. So, okay, we got a little sidetracked there. Okay. This is, that's how you make a corkboard. How am I going to put things on there? Ooh, okay, we made a window. This one's 50 by 500 by 200. Let's do that. 500 by 200.
According to Wikipedia, it's 1280.
Do we trust Wikipedia?
Yes.
Yes, correct. Yes. Do you trust Wikipedia?
Sure. That's how you make
That's good too.
Most
Okay.
of the time.
So here's a 500 by 200 graphics window. Why is that? Because these slides were designed in the 1940s. Okay. We're going to create a rectangle, and it's going to be a G rectangle for a graphics rectangle. And it's going to be, I'm going to give it 4 numbers, and we're going to figure out what those 4 numbers are. Okay. Rect equals G rect. 150, 50, 0, 0 is I think what it said. And then what are we going to see? We're going to see absolutely nothing. Why is that? Because someone made this rectangle and then didn't do anything with it. They just like left it not anywhere even close to their corkboard. This rectangle is currently in Narnia, where it is winter at this time. Right. Okay.
Is it never not winter?
I don't actually know how Narnia works.
Maybe like at the end of the book when they like solve the problem or something.
I think the Messiah made it spring again. I think they have Easter in Narnia. What am I going to do? Oh, let's fiddle around with my rectangle a little bit. Let's maybe give it some color and make it filled up, which is the exact same thing I did with my paint window, where I clicked around on buttons and changed the rectangle from having the outside. But we don't need to do that yet. Let's just add the rectangle to the graphics window. Let's just take a look at what this looks like. Maybe that didn't work. I don't know. It's I think it's there, right? Y'all see it?
Kind of.
How is it so tiny?
Maybe let's like throw some numbers in here. There it is. Yeah, there you go. Is that what the example was? Oh, it said, okay, I don't know. Maybe that's 0, 0. Okay. Let's make it blue. Rect dot set color. VS Code's just guessing what I want. Anyone have any favorite colors other than blue?
Green.
Green.
I was sure we did pink last time, which is fine. Let's go take a look at that. Oh, I have to trash can. Is that green? I think that's green. I bet it'd be easier to see if it was green if we did. Yeah. Set fill? Filled is named after Dr. Phil?
Dr. Phil.
It's missing an argument. Perhaps true? Oh! It's a green rectangle.
Rectangle.
Yeah. Right? Was it not? Do we decide it was 1280 by 720?
If you want a 16 by 9.
Let's make this large.
Not.
There you go. That's a good looking square,
Yeah.
right? Wonder why it's a square. I should change 2 of the numbers that are the same, since squares have 2 sides that are the same. Okay, well, according to my scientific research, this makes me think that this number is its in wideness, and this number is its in tallness, okay? So I think this is going to be x, y, wide, tall. Okay. What are x and y, though? Well, do I have any brain geniuses in the class?
Is it the coordinates and the pixel?
It's the top.
Yes! Brain geniuses detected. Excellent. Okay, so this is distance from left wall. I don't know. Distance from top wall. I don't know. Oh, I don't know why I'm calling them walls. Borders. Edge. Whatever. Wideness. Tallness. Wait a minute. I heard the sound of you not believing me. Let's just put a ridiculously large number in here, like 900. What a huge number. When was the last time you had to count to 900, right?
That's a good point.
Right, Oh, it's all the way over there! That looks like that's 900 away from that side. Okay. I think we should get a little crazy. I'm gonna put a negative 50 in here. Let's just see what happens, you know?
Is it gonna disappear or you can put that socket way over?
There's only one way to find out, right? You got to run the code and test it, right? Look, it's starting up here, but we can't see it because it's outside of the graphics window. So, in my undergrad, when I had a graphics assignment, I never actually removed any rectangles. I just moved them off the screen. Apparently, you weren't supposed to do this, but that's what you do in real life, right? You're like, hey, can you take that off the poster board? Sure, buddy. Right? Like, that's what we do. We don't, like, cause the poster to stop existing, right? So anyways.
Maybe you do.
Yeah, maybe you do. Oh, it's gone. Wait, is it gone? Can I get it back? What? Okay, all right.
It's like magic.
It is virtually identical to magic.
Little Narnia.
Oh no. Anyways, here's what we did. Some people get weirded out that verticals increase as you go downward on the screen. Sorry. Use subtraction. Oh, I wish it were like 300 from the bottom. Maybe that worked, I don't know.
That's distance from left wall, not distance from top edge.
Oh, so that was 300 from the edge. Okay, well that's fine. Also, I gotta make this smaller so we can tell. Oh, I would say that's about 100, maybe. So this point is maybe 300 away from there, and maybe this point is what is 300 minus 200? Okay, so carry the zero. Okay, 100. Okay, so I think that's 100 away. And 100 of what, you ask? Great question.
100 units.
Units.
That was a complete guess. But I got it.
No, it is pixels. You can also do ovals. Wait. Do we have 2 minutes? I was feeling quite round. Oh! Okay, all right.
How many colors do we have access to?
It's the same colors the internet has access to.
But you can also just use.
You can also do hex codes,
Can we
yeah.
make an
Do we
ink?
have to get colored olive drab?
Maybe it's like. Does that work? Okay. And so then this will be red. Oh, look! VS Code tells me what color it is.
Wait, can you? What? That's sick.
Alright, yes.
How convenient.
VS Code, finally good for something, right? Okay. All that autocomplete we dealt with.
Color than it was predicting.
Okay. Lower numbers are above higher rows. This code will solve Wordle for you if you get stuck. Look at it, but only if you get stuck. This should look familiar to you from OB and Globish. See y'all on Friday. See you on Friday or blow up.
Is it gift or gift?
Wish my computer didn't explode. What is this? What is it?